Here with John Mustain, head coach of the James Monroe Mavericks. And John, I want to thank you for joining me today. Obviously, only a couple days in practice, but you guys have spent a good bit of the summer doing different things. I was over at Princeton, you did 7-on-7s. So he's talking to me about what your early impressions of this team are, because you're replacing a lot of key cornerstone players. Brady Baker on the lines, really one of the first ones that stands out. Leighton Dowdy, a starter at quarterback for 3 years. I think he started some as a freshman as well. So those are just hard positions and hard players to replace. But the effort kind of churns on and moves on.
Yeah, and thanks for being here too, by the way. Again, we didn't have a big senior class. I think there was only 7 kids, but every one of them played a role, and so we're gonna have a lot of kids returning. But then the line in particular, we're going to have some younger kids that I think can do the job. But you know how it is. The first year you start, you're learning, and you may not see the results you want till maybe that second year sometimes. But it's we did have a pretty busy summer. We went to 3 7-on-7s this year, and I enjoy doing that. It's a lot of fun, and getting out and seeing the other coaches, and seeing what your kids can do and everything. And it was a lot of fun. But like you say, we're down to crunch time now, so hopefully we can get them ready by first game of the season.
Now, I know that you're replacing quarterback Leighton Dowdy, but you're not in a situation where you have somebody that lacked experience, because Ryan played quite a bit of quarterback last year, and I think he for the first 4 or 5 games he split some duties with Leighton, and then he had to come in for the second half of the playoff game against Independence as well. So do you feel like he's kind of coming in a little step ahead as opposed to the last time you had to kind of replace quarterback?
Yeah, I think so. And plus, the other thing too about Ryan is Ryan carried the ball some for us last year. He was a good receiver for us last year. He did a lot of things for us on the offensive side, even though it wasn't all necessarily a quarterback. And behind him, we've got Jaden Miller. And, I can see some situations where Jaden's going to get out there. We can put Ryan in some other places too, kind of like we used to do with Evan Beasley back, that's been several years ago now, 9 years ago, I believe. But kind of a similar type situation as what we did then. So I think both of them are going to bring a lot to the table. Jaden, he's also a defensive back for us. He can play in the slot as well. He can play wide out. So you got 2 kids there that, to me, are very versatile and we can do a lot of things with them.
Gotcha. Again, do you kind of feel like there's going to be any sort of stylistic change? Because I know you guys you like to run it. That's one thing that you guys have been really good at. But you have a really good athlete in Caden that you have a receiver. I know last time you had a guy like Eli Allen, it's like, okay, like we can throw the ball a little bit more because we have a guy that can just go up and make a play. And, Caden obviously has proven himself as a really good 3-sport athlete, and Ryan's obviously a really good athlete as well. Do you think that you see a little bit more of taking to the air this year?
Well, I think it just depends on. With me, it's always a situational type thing. I'm definitely a person who would rather be run oriented and run dominant, but we have several kids that I feel like can put together a pretty good receiving core. I mean, so many of them that I'm concerned about getting time for all of them, because there's several of them that I've seen good things out of them during the 7-on-7s this summer. Again, it's different once you get the pads on and the contact and everything, but I see a lot of kids that I think can help us out. Caden he's phenomenal. I mean, he's very, very similar to Eli, very similar in what he can do. And so, am I going to say we're going to throw the ball more? Not necessarily, but I know that if we need to throw, I feel like we've got, good at the quarterback position and very good at the receiver position as well. And I think it's something that we can do. Yeah.
Absolutely. Who are some of the kids that you feel like have really popped you? Again, I know that we're early in the year, early in the season, and but you did have some time with them throughout the summer. Who have been some kids that have really popped off and surprised you a little bit?
I should have turned my ringer off before I started this thing. Of course, Brock's played a good bit for us. Even as a freshman, he started some games for us, specifically on the defensive side. But he's done a phenomenal job at linebacker. He's a good running back. He's got to be as built as he is. He's got a little bit more speed and quickness than you would think he would have. But Brock's one. I've mentioned Jaden Miller, Bryce Gardner. As far as skills, Bryce Gardner, Ben Comer, Jaden Hubbard, Andrew Weichel. I always hate naming people because I know I'm always going to leave somebody out. But you know that's kind of our core there as far as running backs, receivers that I think are going to provide some things for us. We got some freshmen. I don't really want to mention any freshmen names yet, but we got some freshmen that I really like. Some things that I've seen out of them too. Up front, of course, we got Tyson Meadows back, Cade Dillon back, Christian Ogle back, kids that played and started there last year, and then we got kids like Aiden Blankenship, Gus Cole, Sawyer Salmons, kids like that I think are going to do some things for us on the line on both sides of the ball. So again, it's a tough schedule. There's no doubt about it. Somebody asked me last night, what were you thinking? I mean, you know, it's John Lilly said something to me one time that makes a lot of sense. You can't schedule yourself into the playoffs, and if you try to do that, 9 times out of 10, you're going to get blistered in that first round. And I'm not taking anything away from making the playoffs because I think this is going to be my 10th year. I've made the playoffs 7 years, and I'm very proud of that. I hope I can make it 8 this year. I'm very proud of the fact that we've made the playoffs during that stretch that many times. But you not only want to make the playoffs, you want to get in there and make a little bit of noise. So if these kids will keep progressing, you know, we've only been out here 2 days, but I think they're working hard. You can't really tell that much till you get those pads on and the contact starts on Monday. So I think we have the potential to be very good. But again, I'll come back to that schedule. We could be very good and maybe not have the greatest record because we start off with Williamstown, Shady, and Bluefield, and you know I know West is going to be tough. Nares is going to be tough. I know West Side, Midland Trail. I don't want to leave anybody out because they don't think I'm forgetting about them. I think Liberty's going to be a lot better this year. So it's Tug Valley. We got them on there. Tug's always good. So you could have a very good team and not make the playoffs with that kind of schedule, but it is what it is. It's gotten so hard in the state of West Virginia to do a schedule. People say, well, why don't you play this team? Well, I can't hold a gun to their head and play us.
Yeah, know? Absolutely.
And there's situations where there may be schools that we're talking to or we've talked to, and it just doesn't work out. Basketball, baseball, softball, you can schedule 6 days out of the week. We essentially have 1 day to work with. That's not 100% true, but you know what I mean. We've had a few times over the years where because of weather or COVID, we had to play 2 games in a week, but you don't like to do that with this sport. So, you know, just putting the schedule together is probably, to me, one of the toughest things about coaching football.
Absolutely. Last question I've got for you, just because I know you've pointed this out in the past when you've had good kickers, but you're replacing a legitimate weapon at kicker in Peyton Gardner. I think he capped his career with a 46-yard field goal in the first round of the playoffs last year. On kickoffs, he could just boot it through the end zone. In high school, you're so used to, you know, average field position, I'd say, is between 35 and 40. So when you have a guy that's putting you back, you know, the opposing team back 20 yards, it's like, okay, you have to go 80 yards instead of 65 or 60 or 55. It changes the complexion of things. Talk to me about how that's going, because I saw you out here trying to, you know, work with the kickers and, you know,
well, the one kid that, to me, as far as kicking, now punting, Caden does really well. Andrew Weichel, they're kind of our top 2 punters. A lot of similarities to them. You know, punting, there's so much mental to kicking and getting consistency. And both of them, I'll see really good kicks out of them. Then you might see a shank or something. But that's just high school football, I think. But one of the kids we're working with right now is actually Peyton's brother, Bryson. Gardner. And he's shown me a few things. I think if I would like to see him, I wish he would have done it this year and maybe next year go to a camp. That really made a big difference for Peyton last year. He went to a camp somewhere in North Carolina, and I can't remember where it was. And his kicking improved a lot from getting with somebody. Most of us at this level can't coach kicking game very well. And I'm not ashamed to say that. I never was a kicker, and I've never really learned that much about it. But if they can get somewhere and get with someone who can show them the ropes, it made a big difference for Peyton. Hopefully Bryce will come on. I've seen some decent kicking at him. He's not to his brother yet by any stretch of the imagination, but but he's shown me some things that I think he has potential to do it.
Absolutely. Well, Coach, appreciate you joining us today, and as always, looking forward to seeing you guys. You guys opened up on the Saturday against Williamstown, right?
Yep.
Yep. So right off the bat.
I hope it's cool like it is today, but I'm afraid it ain't going to be.
That would be nice to kind of
Yeah.
keep it this temperature
Thank
throughout.
you for coming over. Appreciate
Absolutely.
it.
Thank you,
Appreciate
Coach.
it.